Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well today. I just wanted to make, I'm going to try and keep it as quick as possible, but being at work, I sometimes, get notifications from Twitter, from my Discord, and from all these other things, and I've started to, I try and read them as much as I can, but there's feeds that just get way too crazy and just way too much material, way too much content to the point where I just can't even process it. And so I wanted to, and I'm sorry if I'm coming off as like really serious, like I'm acting like, oh my goodness, something is really bad's happened, but it really is something that just, it concerns me mostly because I want to talk about the situation going on right now. There's a conversation going on Twitter with Matthew Kadish. Ethan Van Sciver jumped into the conversation as well. I know that he and Jeremy and World Class BSers, they mentioned a little bit the situation between specifically Matthew Kadish and Stephanie J, that happened on Twitter, the back and forth that was going on. Stephanie J then put out a video as well, responding to it. And so, I know some things have been said, and for the most part, I see some constructive dialogue going on, but I do think that there have been some comments made by multiple people, again, not just one person, not trying to single out any person, that I think because of the way the internet works, because of the fact that you cannot read tone, because of the fact that you cannot have full context sometimes when things are being said, things have been misinterpreted. I think that some things have been said that maybe shouldn't have been said because I think that they lent themselves to be misinterpreted, to be misread in a lot of different ways. And I think that it's caused a little bit of tension here. And I think that the most important thing that we need to understand is that, we cannot be, and we're not in the position to be able to fight against each other, because it really doesn't benefit anyone to try and say, well, my theory is better, my theory is more credible because of this, this, and this. I think that having good, thoughtful discussions is great. I mean, I've seen that happen in this conversation of, Matthew Kadish talking about his own experience, what he knows about the industry. I mean, this is the guy that, people might try and say like, oh, he's not, a big Hollywood producer or anything to that effect, but he has worked in Hollywood. So he knows these people. He has some insight into how things work. And I'm not taking anything away from the people who say they have sources inside Lucasfilm who are feeding them information. What I am trying to say is that I think there is truth to be found on both sides. I think that both sides are contributing something to the conversation. And so that's why it's been really cool to see that back and forth, that trying to build on understanding, honest questions, but what about this? But what about this? And I think that's good. But I think we need to be very, very careful. And this goes for everyone inside the Fandom Menace, to not try and attack or vilify someone for not having the same position I have. The big thing that's been talked about is whether or not Kathleen Kennedy is going to be gone from Lucasfilm, whether or not Rian Johnson's trilogy is going to be canceled. And we can easily look at it. I look at outside of this and I say, I don't understand why she would be able to stay on as the head of Lucasfilm. I don't understand why they would give a Rian Johnson a trilogy. And these are honest questions, and I can look at data. I can look at the fact that there are people who have sources close to them saying that there's these issues going on behind the scenes, and I can believe in those things. But it doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it fact until it happens, until Kathleen Kennedy does step down, until his trilogy is actually canceled. We honestly don't know, because at the end of the day, we could be getting information from people who are trying to put false information out there. We could be getting information that might have been true at one point, but maybe something has changed, because things in Hollywood are constantly changing. People are planning things way in advance, and sometimes plans that they have change on the whim sometimes. And I really do feel like, us going after each other, us, trying to get after each other's throats in certain ways. And again, in some comments that I've seen in this thread that I've been tagged in, I mean, every time I check my phone, there's a new comment, there's a new thing that's been added to this thread. And again, when it's constructive, when it's a good back and forth, honest dialogue, it's great. And I feel like that as the conversation has gone on, it's gotten more into that direction of people just honestly trying to say, like, where is Matthew coming from? And Matthew saying, well, where are you coming from? I honestly want to know, like, where is it that you're finding this information that you're claiming? And it's not anyone calling anyone a liar. It's not anyone trying to say, well, you're wrong and you're an idiot. No one is saying any of these things about anyone. Now, again, as far as the people having the honest conversation are concerned. So I think that we just need to step back, we need to take a breath, and we need to understand that we're all in this together. Again, all of us are a part of this Fandom Menace. I don't know if Matthew Kadish considers himself to be a part of the Fandom Menace or not, but what I do know is that he recognizes that there are indeed flaws in Star Wars. He knows that there are things that are going on in Star Wars and Lucasfilm right now that are not good for fans, that are not good for the universe that's being built, and he's done that very clearly by just destroying, from a objective narrative standpoint, Star Wars The Last Jedi. So I think that we can look to him, and we can look to his track record. We can look to the fact that he's covered this stuff, and also that he has this insider knowledge to say that he's a guy just trying to get at the truth. And that's why one of the coolest things about the interview that I did with him was that, you know, I was challenging him saying, but what about this? I was trying to bring everything that I knew, everything that I thought was real, and everything that I perceived in reality. And he would come back and he would give me a perspective that I didn't agree with, but at least I could say, you know what, that's not crazy. And you know what, that actually makes sense. I don't necessarily agree with it altogether, but I at least understand where you're coming from. And I think that's where we need to start coming from in these discussions, is to actually have discussions, actually to have good, thoughtful dialogue, and to leave it at that. And to not try and go after each other, to not try and vilify or destroy anyone's character, because if we start doing that, we become no better than the people that we are going after every day. We become no better than Ryan Johnson. We become no better than Pablo Hidalgo. We become no better than these people who are constantly tearing down the fans. If we start fighting each other in this way, it's not going to be good for any of us. And so I think that all of us, everyone involved, especially in this, I'm gonna try and tag as many people as I can when I post this on Twitter. We need to step back, relax, take a breath, and hopefully be able to have some good, honest conversations, because good, honest conversations are the best. And as I always say, I love having discussions. Even if I don't agree with you, I at least love having that discussion to be able to know where you're coming from and to try and understand it. So anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. And this is a little bit different than I normally do. I normally cover Star Wars news, movie news, things like that. But I just saw this going on. I just wanted to get my voice out there, because I don't know, sometimes, especially in YouTube, especially in the online community, things can move really fast. And it goes from someone making an honest question, someone looking into something, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this guy's terrible, this guy's the worst thing that's ever happened. And I don't want that to happen, because I don't think that's beneficial, because Matthew Cage is a good guy. Everyone else involved in this whole situation are good people. From what I know, from what I've seen, are good people. And I think that we need to understand that and step back. So anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. You are all amazing. If you like this video, please hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. Again, please share this among anyone that you know who's involved in the Twitter fight that's been going on, anyone that's been involved in this whole process, because I do really think it's important. And I can't wait to have Matthew Cage back on future live stream, just so that way I'm able to interview him about this and get his his perspective on this, because I really do think it's important for us to be able to understand each other and understand what we're trying to say. So thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day, and as always, God bless.